Welcome to Biggest Geekus. We're your hosts. I'm Randy.
And I'm Joe.
This is episode 85 of our show. The date is Thursday. That's right, Thursday, April 28th, 2022. Semester is over, Joseph. As of today, all tests are graded. All students have been failed.
Great. That is awesome. Now,
Good day.
we are supposed to be on Facebook as well. And in looking at the dashboard for Facebook, I'm not seeing a way for it to go live. Oh, here we go.
Send it live, baby. Could people just stumble upon it by knowing us or not? Or they have to do Biggest Geekus?
It's on the Biggest Geekus page. It's supposed to be.
Shadow, Iron Man, Martinson. Got a small crowd, but I figure tonight with the Thursday switch, we might have some issues. Oh, Darth is in. What's up, bud?
Right. Okay, so before we get too far into our normal stuff, I'm not sure what to do here at the Facebook Go Live part. It's not working right. So don't know what to do about it.
Hey.
I just try to add an extra source and it's not working. So, oh well.
Trial and error.
All right. So, as most people who are not living under a rock know, Elon Musk bought Twitter. The deal isn't completely sealed yet, but there's very little to stand in the way. So I'm sure there's something somebody can do. Hail Mary, maybe get in the way. I don't know. The government, they like to mess with stuff. Anyway, right after he bought it, there was a change in atmosphere on Twitter.
Yes.
I made a post. There were some other folks posting the politically incorrect phrases that they would get banned for or whatever.
Right.
And I posted my patented orcs are, what did I say? Orcs are not code for black folks.
Right.
And so far, that post has over 2,000 likes.
That's cool.
And, we only have we only had 170 followers on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
That's all we had for our show's account there. However, to over 2,000, it was 2,100 the last time I looked.
Wow.
And we jumped 100 folks. 100 plus. We have 100 new followers on Twitter, which is awesome. And the whole atmosphere kind of changed. You could see folks that you saw very little, if any, except if you went to their account over and over again. Yes, Iron Man, the penalty for Twitter to not seal the deal is $1 billion paid to Musk, which they don't want to do because they probably don't have a lot of cash on hand, I bet. If Musk pulls out of the deal, he would have to pay a penalty to Twitter. Right.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing that.
Right. No, he wants it already. Howdy, Legion. Yeah, so, it was very unusual. Usually I make a post on Twitter and like 3 people like it and nobody retweets it, which is fine. I'm nobody, but I make that post and...
well done. Well done, Maximus.
How can you tell you get... Oh, because you see the block thing. I didn't get any of that, really.
You see this block, the blockade.
Yeah, so just a flood of people saying either yes or no. Either one's fine.
Right.
It's free speech, so you can say what you want. I'll disagree with you, obviously, because if you say no to what I said, because what I said is objectively the truth. It is.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Was that your ding or my ding?
I didn't get dinged.
That must be mine.
Dinged me.
Let me close that. And
I've yet to watch that, Max. Says his Spelljammer video made people feel things. I started to watch it today. I'm going to get right back into it. So, yeah, I know I watched just the first part of the video, and I was with you guys. I mean, I thought it was kind of a whole lot of nothing and weird, kind of weird. Lots of hate, huh? Oh, good.
Well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that hate me because I said I don't even like Spelljammer. So I think
I never did. I
will get on Twitter just
to block Max. Well played, sir. Well played.
Yes, everybody go out there and give Max some love by blocking him. Block love. Block love.
Oh,
hey,
dude.
Red dice. Hey.
Oh.
hey.
I got the power tonight too. That's trouble. I'm messing with Joe's power. Is it John? Is this John or is this Hannah? Maybe it's John and Hannah. That'd be cool.
That would be.
Yeah.
That would be very cool.
What time is it your time, buddy? You were threatening to get on here. That's cool.
He's made his threat good. So yeah, over 100 comments, lots of retweets.
Cool. So do you think is this promising, you think? I mean, it seems like on the surface, I'm still not on Twitter, and I'm not really I'm not inclined to get on it because I just don't care. I did talk a little bit on Gilded today. That was a topic. I think I sent you the outline for next week. I have an idea. I think it'll be fun. Oh, it's John. Excellent. 36 here. Okay. All right.
Good man.
Yeah. Stay strong, brother.
So, yeah. Okay. So, perspective, Twitter's not a real place.
Fair enough.
It's just, a website. So, its impact can't, the funny thing is, while it's not a real place and one can say its impact is probably minimal overall.
Yes.
It made news. There's all kinds of folks talking about it. So it's hard to really say one way.
Here's what I think. It shouldn't be impactful because not that many people are actually on Twitter in terms of the population.
Right.
And yet the corporations and different media act like and they jumped on it too early on, like it was the greatest thing ever, and it means nothing. And I think corporations make decisions that are literally just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, and like, why am I following this tiny percentage of people that are like saying, "Oh yeah, progress."
Right.
So, Darth had a comment on Spelljammer.
Yeah.
Spelljammer never made sense to me. Why fly a ship from planet to planet when you can just use a plane ship? Yeah, I'm a Planescape guy. I never felt that they worked too well together. And I get the people that like, pirates. That was kind of an interesting draw. But when I saw the Hippo Men, I was just kind of like, and it just seemed dumber and dumber, and the Phlogiston, and I was like, I'm out. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, John. Twitter is given a disproportionate amount of attention by companies. Definitely. Yeah. Spelljammer. I like kind of the idea, kind of the same, probably from the same point of view of what you just said. Sky Pirates. That sounds fun. If they would have left it at Sky Pirates and left the phlogiston out and the crystal sphere nonsense, I didn't like any of that. I thought it was extra stuff you didn't need.
Yeah.
Having a supplement of air combat with flying ships, some of them living because of elves. That has a cool flavor to it.
I like the living ships. They were pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other stuff, I was like, whatever.
I'm with Max. I never really liked Spelljammer. I wanted to like it, but I never did, is what Max said. And that's true. I wanted to. I really wanted to. But some people love it better than Planescape, and that's fine. No more Phlogiston in the 5e version. Now
Yeah. And people complain about that.
Of course. Well, you can't.
The purists, we don't know any of those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are complainers about that, but other people are like, oh, it's their IP, and it is. They can do whatever they want to.
They want to with it. Yep.
I made a couple of comments out there about they can't make it any worse than it was. Oh, hold on. This is Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, they can.
Yeah. What's the saying? Wizard goes, hold my beer. Watch this.
Yeah.
Watch this, Joe Harden. Here's how we'll make it super crap. Yeah, and they did. Apparently they don't have to. I heard some folks talking about they didn't even talk to the original creators, and they don't have to.
They don't have to.
They own it, but you would think if you want to appeal to the crowd that loved it originally.
No, they don't though.
No, they don't. They
don't.
want to the blue hair, blue check mark crowd, and okay, do your thing, man.
Right. The Wizards
I'm not sure
like,
they are. I'm not sure they're doing that. I'm not sure they're actually appealing to them either. Because they're the blue check mark crowd, because their last few books have not been the greatest sales, of what I've heard. CBK.
No, well, so hey, CBK Fly. Yeah. So there's a couple of different schools of thought you can go with on that. One is they weren't interested in the first place, even though you can tell who they were marketing it to.
Right.
The other thing is a lot of people say this about the left is they don't have any money to be spending on stuff.
Oh.
So most of them work at Starbucks or whatever menial jobs, and carry a large debt to some college somewhere who's cackling in delight at the money coming into them.
Yeah, they majored in saltwater caramel studies.
Right. So I'm not sure which is actually true because we don't really know the data, but we do know that the folks that they're marketing some of these things to don't sell.
No.
So who knows?
Who knows what it is? Yeah.
But at this point, I think it could be because Spelljammer and what's the other one coming out? Dragonlance.
Yeah.
This is potentially them throwing spaghetti at the wall. Let's put out a bunch of stuff and see what sells. And
well, it's like they reach into the nostalgia bowl and they pull it out and go, let's completely change this, but call it this. I mean, I know, who's Max's buddy? Heathen Dog over at Legion. He was not happy about it. Did you watch their Dragonlance? The little when they first spilled a little bit of info about the Dragonlance, he lost it, dude.
No, I heard about what happened, but I didn't watch that video yet. Oh, just in case, if there's anybody watching that is new who came in on the Elon Musk Twitter wave, welcome, and we appreciate your view. We only got one bump up of one on subscriptions here in YouTube, or whatever you call it. Subscription, not we have a new subscriber.
Yeah,
just one. So 2,000 likes and lots of retweets and whatnot didn't really generate so far much of anything.
Like Red Dice's comment. Plus, reheating the leftovers of previous editions is easier than making good new stuff.
Correct.
Truth.
And 5th edition, though some would disagree perhaps, isn't so different that you couldn't just grab a copy off of drive-through as a PDF, print it out at Lulu or not, and use it. It wouldn't take all that much conversion. A little.
To do what again?
To convert it. You could grab you can go grab an old version like someone just said Red Dice, was that who said it? A POD version? Yeah, print on demand.
Yeah.
Of the old Spelljammer. You could do that and run it in 5th edition with very little, if you know what you're doing.
I argue short of 4th edition, probably 4th and 3rd both. 3rd was pretty, I don't know.
It would take more work than 5th probably, but you could do it.
4th would take a lot more work. 3rd would take more than others, but the other editions are pretty, even 5e is pretty interesting.
Well, actually, you may not even need to do a whole lot of work in either of those. All you have to do is ignore stats, just use the fluff.
Yep, true.
In the lore, that would be easy. And you could carry all that stuff throughout all of the editions. You don't need there's not a whole lot of worry with that. So it's cash grab, which is fine if, as things go, they're a business, they want to make money, but they could make new stuff, like people say.
But their new stuff, what's it, the Radiant Citadel crap, and their not Candy.
Is Radiant Citadel
the setting
exactly new, or was that something they Magic the Gathering stuff?
Maybe. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. Honestly, even if I don't like their Magic the Gathering stuff, at least that is new to RPGs.
Yeah, well, new in the D&D sphere. Yes.
Correct. So, I actually, even the stuff that I think is crap, like what was that, Wild Beyond the Witchlight? At least they did something new. I will give them a half a point for that. But the other poop, I'm kind of, dude, since John is on here, dude, I want to know, John, John at Red Dice, what are your recommendations for OSE modules? I just got a Holy Mountain Shaker, and I ordered a Rack Veil kind of compendium thing. I'm kind of going to go down the OSC route at VentureCon, July 22nd, 24th. Please show up. I'm running 2 sessions. I would love to know what your opinion, because John runs OSC a lot, what kind of modules he would recommend.
So apparently, I was just grasping at straws. It's not part of Magic the Gathering. So brand new. So apparently they don't even know how to do brand new stuff very well.
Well, they got people. Well, here's the problem. They might have very good creatives on staff, but they're focusing too hard on representation. I mean, that's the problem. I mean,
yeah, you put that first.
Yeah.
And worry about the creative part later.
Mm-hmm.
Is Radiant Citadel? I remember reading about it when it first came up. Is it an adventure anthology type thing?
Sort of, but it's not. It's a. Remember, we covered it once. It was like 12 different cultures came to this body of this dying god or dead god.
Oh yeah, that.
Or dead giant or something. I mean, it sounds like something they ripped off from like Dead Gods, but then they went totally weirdo. Not even.
Yeah, the police carry shields, but no weapons because
Yeah.
Defund the police.
Yeah, I'm down with Darth. I'm okay with updating settings. Not a problem. They want to bring it to 5e, but they need to expand, not change every dang thing. I agree. There's a difference. Yeah. Come on, son.
Sure. I mean, you do the little rules tweaking.
Yeah.
And then expand a little bit, add a little bit of lore. Yeah. That makes sense.
Oh, thanks, John. Hall's the Blood King. Writing that down. I've seen that on eBay and other places. I want to talk about OSC's little adventures. I know John has done a heck of a job on his site talking about it, but I got my first one, and it matched what he was saying. The way they write adventures is kind of intriguing, Joe, and I think you'll find it interesting. But I'm going to read. I got that Holy Mountain Shaker. The Halls of the Blood. All right, cool. Because I'm running that game at VentureCon, and I want to use one of those modules as kind of a basis. So anyway.
Good deal.
Shall we move on to the next one then?
What
do we have any call-ins?
Yes, we do. Ooh. And the person who made the call-in is here in the chat.
Dude, he is our most prolific call-in guy.
Let's see. I am pulling up.
Prepare to bask in your own glory, John.
Yes. So, apart from that, that's really the new stuff for me. Okay. Anything else going on with you? New?
Well, I mentioned I'm done with. Maybe it was on air. I'm done with school as of today. Got all my grades in. Everything is completely finished. Because I'm awesome, the fastest grader in the West, which would be bragging if it weren't true, but I really am. And so I got about 9-10 days off before the spring semester starts. And we'll be cabin conning that first week of the spring semester, or at least the end of that first week. So fun.
Groovy.
Yeah.
So
I'm getting that call-ins ready.
Yep. Here we go. Number 1 from John Allen Large at Red Dice Diaries.
Hey there guys, it's John here from Red Dice Diaries, just listening to your high-level breakdown episode where you're asking for some input on what monsters we'd like to see you look at, and I'd love to see you look at some of the intelligent undead, so like liches and stuff like that, especially if you could look at some of the ones that have been made more popular in culture, like the vampire. I've looked at those a bit myself, and I think it's sometimes a little bit difficult to bring something a bit fresh and new to those monsters because they've been pretty much done to death. So like I say, I've tried looking at them myself, but I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on them. Anyway, take care of the rest of the episode.
Cool. Write that down.
Off the top of my head, I have to agree with John. Vampires have been done so much.
Yeah.
If you take the classic vampire and try to roll with that, your options for doing new are probably a bit limited.
Yes.
But there are at least 100 vampire variants in the real world mythologies. So I would say off the top of my head, your best bet is to look them up and apply one of those, most likely. Apart from that, what's his name? Max from Legion of Myth, smartly, when we had our episode on this very topic, because our last episode on monsters was about corporeal undead, which included liches and vampires.
Right.
Max suggested an older tome. It wasn't Van Richten's Guide, was it? Do you remember?
Yes, Van Richten's Guide.
Okay, it was an older Van Richten's Guide that detailed a bunch of variant undead.
Probably Van Richten's Guide to the Undead.
Yeah, I can't remember what name of it.
It was called that.
It wasn't just the Raven. It wasn't just the Ravenloft. A Ravenloft supplement.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I mean, a Van Richten's Guide is a Ravenloft supplement because Van Richten is a Ravenloft character. Yes. And back then, they kept him in Ravenloft.
Yeah.
Back in the second edition, that was a second edition.
I'm pretty sure most of there was a glut of supplements for Ravenloft, and it came out during the second edition era. Yeah.
Right. So, but we will probably revisit that because we need to do a little more justice to the monsters, I think, to help, instead of just saying, hey, this is what the books say.
Yeah.
Have fun. We need to do a little more.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2 from John.
Hey there, guys. It's John here again from the Red Dice Diaries, listening to the end of your high-level breakdown episode. And when you were talking about vampire and your generations where you're sort of stuck with it, technically you are, but you can, however, if you drink all the blood and the soul of another vampire who's a better generation than you effectively lower or improve your generation by 1, since you absorb their power and it brings you closer to Cain. And it's supposed to be a big no-no in Vampire Society, and it's a horrendous crime, but you get some extra XP for it and you get a power boost. So someone's going to end up doing it eventually in a vampire game. In fact, the Sabbat, the sect, pretty much does it on the regular. And I know I've done it a few times in games. Anyway, I'm going to get back to listening to the episode, guys. Keep up the good work. I'll catch you soon.
I remember I thought there was something like that, but I played vampires so little, John, that I don't know. It just, what little I played, it's mostly, remember the little dots for your power levels, and that's about it.
On the character sheet, fill them in as you go.
Some of the names and stuff of the Bruja and the Gangrel and stuff like that. That's all I remember a few names.
I imagine it should be somewhat difficult to take out a vampire that's more powerful than you. I suppose if you gang up on them, just like anything else, you bring enough firepower, they're going to go down.
Yeah, and I wondered, it probably depends too on how many generations. I mean, if they're only like a generation behind Cain, you better watch it. You better have a heck of a group, if I remember correctly.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's been a long time since I read any of their books, the vampire books, but I do remember you didn't really want to. He didn't want to mess with anything much more than one generation.
Yeah.
Older than you, because
they get you.
They ramp up.
Yeah.
All right. And that's it from John from Red Dice Diaries. Thank you for your call-ins.
Yep.
And let me stop the share. All right. It's so easy to stop. It's like 5 clicks to get it going. It's stupid.
Yeah.
All right. What's next on the slate?
We're going to talk about that sweet, sweet Thor trailer. Did you watch it, Joseph?
You must have watched a different Thor trailer than I.
Love and Thunder. Oh, man. What a pile of dog crap. So Thor is open and not wanting to be a hero again.
Yeah, he's become a big
story. I mean, how many times are they going to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it was only every other issue back in the day. Yeah. I don't know who I am. Okay, you lose your powers. Now you're some dude with a cane.
Oh, well, I think
that was fine. That was a fine storyline until once he got his head on straight, he became himself. But It's so many times. So many times. In fact, part of the what's the story arc with the Avengers in the movie, the cinematic universe?
In game, the gauntlet thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
Endgame. So
But
I don't think I saw Endgame, but some of the other ones, he had kind of a I don't know who I am arc in that too. Because
in the comics, he didn't do it that much. I mean,
Yeah.
at least not when I was reading. He was always pretty cool, but he did have a couple of things. Before you go on,
his first
John says
movie.
that Thor trailer is dank. Dank's a bad thing, right?
No, he's joking, obviously.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Dank is groovy,
yeah,
but in a dark way.
right. Yeah, John says Thor's trying to find himself for the fifth time in a row. Yeah, and so he plants his in the video he plants the big axe instead of Mjolnir in the ground. He's like, I gotta go. He goes off to be a hippie or whatever.
Definitely.
And it looks like Valkyrie's this. They call her King Valkyrie, and I'm like,
stupid.
Dude, it's a chick. I don't care if she is a lesbian. She's not a
king. Is masculine.
Correct. And she looks, and I never thought of it before, but Critical Drinker and a few others did some reviews. You know that actress in those movies? She has one expression.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed. That's it. Oh, John says dank means crap in my part of the UK.
Oh, okay. So
I didn't know it.
Yeah. So people call dank have a phrase called a dank meme, and from what I've been able to gather from it, a dank meme is a really you go dark. It's not crap. It's you've gone dark, like making fun of dead babies and stuff like that.
We are though, John. We're old, so
yeah.
Idioms are passing us by, the newer ones.
We owed it.
But also, then there was the part with Natalie Portman. Mjolnir.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So Thor had an identity crisis at the very beginning of his cinematic run, right? When he because he got kicked out of Asgard and he couldn't pick up his hammer, and finally at the end of the movie he got his head on straight. Okay.
Right. One.
So he had it in the end game thing because Mjolnir was destroyed because he didn't have his head on straight.
Right.
And then finally got his head on straight and he got the axe.
Yeah.
And now
after he got his eye ripped out.
After he got his eye ripped out. So Natalie Portman's character is not an Asgardian.
Nope.
So Mjolnir is there to focus the powers of Thor.
Yep.
So she might be worthy to pick it up because she might be a really good character. That's fine. Yeah. But what are you focusing? She's a
normal human.
But she's a scientist. So she can do science better with the hammer. Yay. Yeah.
But they have her all in the you know how they're going with the multiverse of madness. She's gonna be whatever her character name is. I forget. She was so forgettable. Their chemistry was a joke.
Yeah, it was nothing.
And she's so forgettable. And then she's gonna be like this alternate universe, whatever her name is. Somebody help me. What is her character's name? Jane Foster.
Yeah.
And which is really not like Jane Foster in the comics that I remember. But anyway, long story short, it looks so stupid. And yeah, Green Apple's here. I got to admit something to you guys. I caved in. I want to talk about it later today. Not only did I watch this stupid commercial for Thor, I watched The Batman about 2 weeks ago. I watched it on HBO. I know, Joe, I deserve it. Deride me. I told me I wasn't going to do it. It was a couple of buddies, and I caved in. We were bored. No excuse. And I'm going to give a full review on it. But the good thing is this. It confirmed I don't need to watch those movies. They're trash. The Batman is way overhyped. Mm-hmm. It is nowhere. Well, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I thought Love and Thunder was exactly what Marvel's going to produce. Dog crap.
Right. So the only reason I looked at the trailer is because it's on our show.
I know. I made you watch it.
And the whole time I was like, is Thor becoming gay or something?
He's become, dude, in the end, you know what's going to happen? He's going to say, oh, Jane Foster, you're so much more worthier than I am. You keep the hammer. And I
think he says that already. Doesn't he say that in the trailer? Somebody said something like that.
Oh, and this is even worse. Look at this. No, she's not a multiverse Jane Foster. She's the same one from the MCU. Okay. Yeah, don't worry, Duncan. You want the review? I'm assuming you mean the Batman. Well, if so, you're getting it tonight.
Yeah.
Got to hang till the end, though. So.
But yeah, I didn't see anything in the trailer I liked at all.
No, Thor was complete and utter poop. It was just beyond stupid.
So, thumbs down.
Amy and Darth, I apologize.
Don't waste your time on that nonsense.
No, it's garbage. So, did you get a chance though to watch my Total Party Skills video?
Yes. Yes.
What'd you think of that? What do you think of Waspinator's take on? In a nutshell, it was brands antagonizing their fan base.
Yeah. I thought it was weak take.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Okay. So he's saying the people in charge of these places, of these IPs, aren't connected to their origin. You know, they didn't create them. They don't really know anything about them, but they bought them, and now they put some folks in charge of them, and they're just going off in weird directions, and that's why people are mad. That's essentially what he said. And he tried to deflate those of us who say that they are, the woke. Okay, he said, it doesn't have anything to do with that. They just don't understand the IP. And I'm like, all right. And this is why I think it's a weak take.
Yes.
He's ignoring the fact that they've said what they're doing.
Yes.
Like Star Wars.
Yep.
The Force is female.
Correct.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The MCU. Feige, is that his name?
Yep.
Kevin Feige. He said he wants to put women to be prominent, more than half. Prominent women.
Oh, yeah.
So don't tell me these folks aren't purposefully, not purposefully to shoot themselves in the foot. They think it's a great idea to subvert your expectations and to gender swap and race swap. That's what they do. And it's because they're woke. They think that Black people are underrepresented in Hollywood, even though they're not. And they weren't when they started doing this.
Nope.
Black people and women, they're all over the place. So,
yeah. John agrees. He said antagonizing your fan base is standard operating procedure. I think you're right, Joe. The Waspinator, King Waspinator, I enjoy his videos, even though he is clearly much more left than I am. But he always goes a little softballish.
It's a soft, yeah.
And I think what he's doing is because I don't know the man, but I don't know if he just wants to appear to be this perfect neutral guy who's not swayed at all by anything. Because he does come off as like, nothing phases me. It's all cool. And you know what? That may be him. And that's okay. Yeah. But I think, why would you do that? Why are you I guess they just don't understand anything about these brands they bought.
So it's either ignorance or agenda or something. I don't really care. I can't watch his videos because every time you turn on his videos, you're looking up his nose.
Yeah, I
don't like that.
That's a tad annoying. Dar says there are some great female characters in comics. Absolutely. If they could use them instead of changing everything, they would not be the problem. That's right. Just use the ones you have. Don't make Thor a female. And I get there's a female Captain Marvel, and I would rather have seen Marvel, which they totally changed him. He was the bad guy in Captain Marvel. And so and they switched the whole Kree and Skrulls. Now the Skrulls are the quote unquote poor oppressed group, and the Kree are the evil Empire bad guys. I mean, they were both bad guys in the original, the ones I read. But the point is, Darth is right. There's plenty of good female characters. Just use them. Just use them. I mean, they can't seem to get the Phoenix story right, so I guess they can't write. They can't use the female characters as written. They got to turn them into some representation of some group they think is marginalized.
Right.
All right. So yeah, I still like Total Party Skills, but he does aggravate me, and I may not be able to stay with him too long. I thought his statement was good, but you're right. He really wasn't. He doesn't want to appear to be, I think, either one way or the other.
Well, he probably, he's left wing, so he probably does think that the right people yammer on too much about the woke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Either that, or it could just be a video of him saying something that he believes a little bit.
Who knows?
But he's not really committed too much to that belief.
He seems to be
here's
committed.
a video.
He seems
made
to
a
be
video.
committed mainly to neutrality.
Hmm.
He won't go too far either way. But hey, that's all right. So far, I still like him, but I can get why you might not. Okay, now you sent me this next one, Joe, and I had to watch that. And dude, could that dude speak fast?
Okay. I read
Yep.
the an article about it. I didn't watch a video.
I did both. I did both.
And I did so I don't know about fast. So
Okay.
it's essentially a Hungarian game company, I can't remember the name of it, had the rights to do translation work.
Mm-hmm.
And they had it all done, and they were waiting
5E,
for the
on 5E.
On 5E.
Yep.
They had it all done, and they were waiting for the go ahead. And they got screwed over by WotC and Gale Force 9. It's not just Wizards of the Coast.
It was during the kerfuffle that Gale Force 9 and WotC were having a few months back, maybe last year.
Yep.
And when they got that settled, they just ignored these people. And this conversion to Hungarian's completely done. And they had like 5,000 people ready to buy the book, committed to buy the book. And I guess it's just pennies to WotC, but WotC has their own, they had a problem with the Korean translation, the Spanish translation. So I guess they want to put it all in-house. And because it used to be Gale Force 9 was their European leg for translating. And I just don't see, WotC just doesn't give a crap. They will just step on people. And you know what? I remember when Hasbro bought WotC early on, just around the 3rd edition era, and everybody was, crying and moaning and saying, "Oh my God, the big company." And I, like a dummy, was like, "I don't mean nothing." Apparently, it does. Apparently, they are exactly what we would call the caricature of a big company that doesn't care about the little guy.
Right.
Because what's that?
Seems like...
what can the country of the guy said the country of Hungary has maybe 5,000-6,000 people that even like to play role-playing games. I mean, percentage-wise. So I get it; they're a drop in the bucket. But why would you just poop on that many people? That's 5,000 times $50. Why would you do that?
More?
Yeah, more.
It's more because there's shipping involved.
Mm-hmm.
So that now, if all they had to do is provide them like a digital representation of the book, and then they print it there, that's one thing. Right. But most likely not. Most likely they had to ship the books to them. So they were, and they're going to be paying the shipping costs. It'll be translated into the cost of the book, and it was just going to be money for them.
Oh, I just noticed Bruce. I just commented, Bruce has to go. He's got to do. I was trying to move to Thursday. I thought we were going to be dodging gatekeepers. But I guess there was no gatekeepers this week. So,
yeah, there was.
Oh, was
there was.
Okay.
Just there was nothing. There was nothing for it. My wife's okay. We didn't say this at the beginning. So my wife's birthday was Tuesday.
Oh.
So I felt it best to spend that with her.
Wow, that's a novel idea.
Yeah. So, and Wednesday was out because we had Bible study that night.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we are today. And, Wednesday is gatekeepers, Thursday is table breakers. Friday was going to be bad too because it was Friday.
Yeah. So,
and Friday is
Chill Stream
on Max's channel. So, yeah.
Sorry, Bruce. Hate to interrupt your guys, but I'm sure you guys, we won't affect your dudes. Oh, he says happy birthday to
Will do, Bruce, if she's not on here in the shadows already.
Right. Oh, all right. So shall I move on to the next topic?
Yes.
So this came up Tuesday night when we would have been podcasting. My wife, this is I thought it was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing. She plays a game called Evany, which is a war game through her iPad.
Oh, yeah.
And it's totally PvP. And my wife, Joe knows my wife. She's not into PvP at all. So you can make these magical bubbles. It's basically a civilization, resource management. Then there's wars, but you can put a bubble around your city for the right price, and you can't be attacked. And she was told that at a certain time there was a NPC, and she won't attack the PC cities. And so there was an NPC city that was cropped up, and she was told to go attack it by an ally. So at this time you can attack them. So she did. Oh, what's Bruce saying?
Dude, we want you to be big. You guys are us. You guys and us are just small game. We don't take our streams down, and you guys just need to get your content out. Yes, we're all in this together, bud. Just like over at Red Green Show.
Cool. So anyway, she goes to do this, and while she's gone, if you want to attack somebody else, you got to take your own bubble down. Well, she went and attacked the NPCs, got the little bit of loot, and came back, and her city had been ravaged.
Yes,
she had been attacked by a guy. She had like 21 million warriors. He had 528 million, and he just kicked the poop out of her. She was madder than a hornet. And so I got to rebuild all this stuff. And one of her guild mates sent her some, because they tend to help each other when they get screwed, send her a few resources. Then she gets a big gift from this guy. She does it. She goes, oh, she was talking, thank you. I went out and this butthole just came and attacked me. And the guy responded, I'm that butthole. The butthole had sent her that stuff. And he goes, hopefully you'll learn your lesson not to let your bubble down. And so it was just so hilarious because she's like, she couldn't even type for a while. I was like, in a strange way, and she knew it already, but he was kind of teaching her that's how the cookie crumbles in PvP.
Well, plus there's a bunch of games built just like that one. Mm-hmm. You have a big map where you have individual little holdings at. It's either zombies or even it's essentially the same. They're all scaled differently, but it's essentially the same engine. And it's very easy for some really powerful dude to come and squish you. If you have the ability to put up a shield, you should do that.
Well, she does generally, but it was like, and you can't keep it up when you're attacking. But I still thought it was so funny. He sent her stuff, gave her some stuff back, and she was telling him, "Oh, thank you. Some guy just came and raised my city." He goes, "Yeah, I was that guy." And so I thought that was so funny. And she's like, "But I get her because I wouldn't like it either. Because it seems ridiculous. If you're a gigantic dude, why are you crushing little ants?"
Because you can.
I guess I just don't have that mentality, but okay.
Yeah, well, that's what the game's about. That's one aspect of the game.
Okay. Well, I have one little thing that wasn't on the list I want to talk about this week, and my attention to this podcast has waned, but I do appreciate them because honestly, they have helped me. They helped me format the outlines that I do. Even our introduction is modeled a little bit after them. That's Gaming and BS, and I know Joe's not a big fan of them, and I do like them well enough, but they're pretty SJW friendly. But they're ending after 7.5 years. They said that episode 380 was the other day, and Brett and Sean at Gaming and BS are ending their podcast at episode 384. And I do appreciate they were actually one of the first two podcasts that I ever consistently listened to. Gaming and BS, and then something called RPG Circus, which is now way over. I do like the guys. I mean, personally, they seem very personable. They just seem to nod to all the wokitude. Not like. Here's the thing. I would bet money we could sit down and play D&D with those two guys.
They probably
personally wouldn't be a problem.
No, I might roll my eyes if they talked about needing, which they probably wouldn't, needing
safety tools.
Safety tools, no.
I think they can read the room. I mean, they're pretty real dudes. I mean, the Brett guy's a hunter and into martial arts. Sean's ex-military, but they have given that lip service to that. And sometimes, that's not so great, but they do a pretty good job. If you listen to them, I think they do. If you can ignore that part, they do a pretty good job of discussing RPGs. And I just thought it was kind of bittersweet. And they're having an episode, their last episode, they invited people to fill out a survey and say, do you have any questions for them before they go? And I asked them kind of what was the sign that they saw, what was the first time they noticed, hey, I think this is getting long in the tooth, it's time to hang it up. And then I told them that and I still appreciate them because they got me they really led me to this road. There's no doubt about it. So Joe, not so much. He had plans well before that, but he's a planner.
I just didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Trigger.
You got any extra stuff? So that was my episode 384. 4 episodes left. Anybody watches Gaming BS, you better get your fill now because soon it will just be old stuff.
Phone guy. Phone guy.
Hey, phone guy. The name's new to me. I don't recall saying phone guy before.
It rings a bell, though.
But welcome, dude. We are so glad that you are here. Thank you.
Definitely. Something else I ran into podcast-wise is Writer Dojo. And DVR, that's where DVR, yes, is
cool. Welcome, man.
Yes, DVR is a YouTube channel.
Check them out.
They do good work over there. They bust scammers, basically.
Yes, they do, and no one needs busted more. That's awesome. You guys do a great job.
Writer Dojo. So there is a book series.
Like write with a pen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I'll put the link in the show notes.
Cool.
Larry Correa, he writes a book series, a few series, but one of them is Monster Hunters International.
Okay.
And so he and a friend of his, who's been in the writing biz, I think he runs some other. He's not. He does some writing now, but I think he primarily for the writing biz, he's in a different part of it, editing and stuff like that.
Sure.
But they do a podcast on writing, and so I listened to a few episodes because that's something I've tried to get myself into, but have been unsuccessful thus far to write more than a few words.
I think it would do us both good to listen to stuff like that, especially if we're ever going to make Bud sort of reality.
Right. So, so any of you guys that like Monster Hunter International, and these guys are cool. They are far from left wing.
Yay!
They are far from left wing. So,
well, interesting note: Monster Hunter International. Our buddy Eric C. from Cabin Con, he loves that series. He has the Savage World version of that role-playing game of Monster Hunter International, and it actually sounds like a fun game. I'll keep telling him he needs to run it, so it'll be fun to play. So,
yeah, I've only read the first book in that series.
I've read it. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's I would say it's not the highest caliber writing, but that was his first work. So,
sure, to be fair,
he's written dozens and dozens of books since then. So, not to say it was bad, but it's definitely a different style. So, but check it out. It's short. It's a short book.
Yeah. Shall we move on into the main topic today?
Main topic.
All right, we're gonna mash the monsters again today. We're gonna talk about Incorporeal Undead. I hope to get mainly to some of the alternate takes. I don't know if you took some time to create your own. I'm a little proud of one of mine, but
I know which one it is.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm very sure.
We'll see how this goes. But the main undead that we're discussing are going to be the Banshee, also known as the Groaning Spirit, the Ghost, the Spectre, the Shadow, and the Wraith. That's the main ones that we're going to be looking at. We can mention others. I don't know if any came to your mind, but in their first appearance, strangely enough, hey, Kill Raven, he's here. Oh, see the show live for once. Good. He just caught it on the download later. But OD&D had the Spectre and the Wraith, and the Shadow came in the Greyhawk supplement. And then in Beckme Rules, we finally got we didn't get nothing new. We didn't get nothing new till AD&D 1E. Shadows are undead now. Yeah, they've always been undead, dude. Max. I don't know what he's talking about, dude. Shadows are undead. Hopefully he's
always been.
Yeah. And the Ghost didn't come in till AD 1. At least I didn't see it. I mean, I do my research on my iPad. I've got all the books from different editions of the Monster Manual. And we got the Ghost and the Groaning Spirit. The Banshee was the Groaning Spirit. And then we keep them throughout the different editions. I couldn't find the Shadow nor the Banshee in 4E, but I'm sure it was there.
Yeah.
It's just probably one of the books that I never checked out before. What are your general thoughts of Incorporeal Undead?
I like them. I think they're a fine enemy. Now, the way some DMs Oh yes, Shadow.
He's
Yes, of course, an incorporeal undead would claim to not be,
yes.
to get into a crowd of humans to
Gotcha. Maybe
drink of their essence.
maybe on a podcast and siphon our life essence through the internet. Better watch that dude. And his son, sure you have.
Keep your eyes peeled.
That's right.
So a lot of there are DMs out there, and I ran into one, and I know that there's more who want incorporeal and undead in general to have special senses, so that they detect living, and they make it
idea, but I know we talk.
But it adds power to the depending on how you play it.
It
So
really
if they
does, actually.
if they can detect the living, and it doesn't work that much different from regular sight, fine. Right. So in darkness, maybe they're fine. That makes sense. But through walls, through floors, knows how far away you need to be to detect. And I've had DMs attack with level draining undead through the floorboards or through the solid stone of a dungeon room, because they know where you're at. They can just see you because they're undead and you're living. They're incorporeal, so they can just touch you right through the floor. Sucks to be you. Whatever.
I can't shake my desire is to use that because it feels right for undead, especially incorporeal.
I get that.
But you're right. You have to be careful. I guess if I were going to use it in the game, I would have to put some strange restrictions, like they couldn't sense you through like any kind of physical block. And I think, I think it is a little too deadly. But in general, I think that Incorporeal Undead put an extra level of fear into people.
Oh, sure.
Because especially if you know nothing, even if you never played D&D before and you face a ghost, the first thing that comes to a warrior's mind is, what am I going to do against a freaking ghost?
Right.
I'm swords and arrows and axes. I mean, holy crap. And I think they have a holy crap factor built right into them. And that goes for all of them. Every single incorporeal undead. I mean, ghost, shadow, wraith. How are you going to hurt them? Period. And they did. All of them need magic weapons pretty much to affect them in all the versions of D&D.
Right. And they different versions of D&D handle it a little differently, but some of them it was just you had to have that weapon to hit, and if you didn't, you didn't. In the third edition, it was 50%. Is it a 50% thing?
Third edition was challenging. It said, believe it sounds simple. 50% chance to take damage from a corporeal source.
Correct.
So not 50% damage, but there's a 50% chance they'll take any damage as long as it's magical.
Right.
And they ignored armor and shields.
Right.
So they had the touch attack in third edition, which I think was actually a pretty good mechanic in the game.
Yeah.
And it made sense because you used to always wonder, why does a ghost have to hit your armor class? Your armor is doing absolutely nothing against a ghost.
Correct.
Yeah.
But here's another thing: a ghost, if you go with lore from our world, ghosts are here because they have unfinished business.
Yes.
If you can figure out what that unfinished business is, you might be able to send the ghost on their way without even fighting them. Correct. You might have to negotiate. You might have to run. And at low level, and for a ghost, low level is probably anything under 7th or 8th level, depending on, except the caveat to all of this is a cleric. So if you have a cleric with 2 levels, you're going to pretty much be running off most undead, even ghosts, I think.
I know, they can start turning. The ghosts were kind of hard to turn, actually. I listed some of the common powers, and I was trying to talk about the ones that were a little bit interesting. The one that stayed consistent until around 3rd edition. Oh, Killraven says, I always let fighters, paladins, rangers use the chart that allowed monsters to hit each other. That's generous. I would not do that.
That's that's an AD&D thing?
Yeah, I'm almost positive. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds familiar. I just don't recall it specifically.
Yeah. But like, for example, on some of these creatures, let's say the Banshee. So we all know about the Banshee as well. That's pretty deadly. Saber die. They also had a thing. I didn't catch this till later when I was reading it. If you're within 5 miles of one of them, it guarantees an attack. If you rest within 5 miles of a groaning spirit, so it basically knows. Thanks, Kill Raven. Yeah, it is. It basically knows that you're around. It can. So there's a way to say that's kind of sense living with a 5-mile range.
Yeah, and that one undead had it, and that was a 3rd edition thing.
That was actually an original AD&D edition.
Okay, so the Banshee had it.
Yes, yeah. Now that was in 2E, in fact. 3.5, they had a horrific. Now this is where it gets scary. They had a horrific appearance. Now they were like a CR 16 or 13 in 3.5. You would take D4 drain to strength, con, and dex if you failed. Drain. Now, those that aren't in the know, drain in 3.5 is forget it, you're gone. You lose the stats, they don't come back unless you actually use magic to get it back. Rest won't bring it back. Damage, rest will bring back 1 per day. And if they touch you, they could drain a D4 charisma. Oh, my bad. They were a CR 17. So, which was much higher than they ever considered back in the day. Or maybe it was that I just used them on much lower level characters. That was probably it. But the ghost was pretty standard. I know they changed the whole. It used to be like their touch was 10 to 40 years of aging. In 2nd edition, their sight would age. Just seeing them would age you 10 years until a cleric was 6th level or a character was 8th level. Then they would get +2 to their save. Yeah.
So, and that whole they're scary. You want to run. You don't even have to be low level to want to run from getting aged. That could end the career of any human of any caliber.
Darth says damage, heals, drain is permanent.
Yeah, that's what you just said. Same thing.
Yeah. You have to have magical healing. And I just want to do this real quickly. I know these are powers we know, but something I thought were interesting. In Spectres had a lot of these creatures, the Spectre, the Shadow, and I think the Ghost. Yeah, it was described as hard to turn in 2nd edition, but in 3rd, 3.5, the Spectre and the Shadow had turn resistance, which did make it a little bit harder. And the Spectre drained 2 levels at a pop, so they were kind of deadly. They were like a ghostly vampire. So they were pretty. Spectres were deadly, dude. I mean, they never were kind of something to take lightly.
Is there any other way around the enchanted weapon thing, like having a blessed weapon?
I don't recall reading that. There might have been one for a specific creature, but I didn't see that in a generally over the time. Daylight, weakness, powerlessness was kind of a common thing. The whites especially were powerless, but they had turn resistance. Oh, sorry, the Wraiths had turn resistance too. So I think they kind of every edition made the Incorporeal Undead a little bit buffer with their hard to turn business. Right. But as we know, the chart got stupid fast for the clerics. So
very fast.
Turn, whatever. So, what else was interesting about them? The 3.5 did have a Wraith that was that drained con D6 at a pop, and then there was the advanced Wraith. The Dread Wraith was D8 drain. Well, yeah, that was pretty brutal. +1 level.
Those doubled on crits, didn't they?
Yes. If you got critted by a Dread Wraith, that would be 2d8 drain to your con. You could lose 16 con, and that's
death.
Crazy. Yeah, death.
Or no, it's death, or more specifically, probably undeath.
Yeah, exactly. And they all had that. The Wraith had that ability to turn you into one of itself. The Shadow could do it. The Spectre, I think he did too. The Ghost did not turn you into a ghost, and the Banshee did not turn you into a Banshee because she was all about, I'm super sad and I want you to die because you're living.
Right. Not all the undead made new ones.
Yeah.
And you get killed by a ghost, like especially when they're aging, you just pile of dust.
Yeah, Shadow said sometimes silver weapons would work.
Depends on the creature,
Yeah, for sure. I can't remember which ones it was exactly. I wrote this outline. I got it done pretty quick. Remember, I sent it out last week, so it's been a while. But I don't want to belabor that part unless you want to talk more about those particular ones in there.
No, I do remember lots of character death from these spectral foes.
And even when and to be honest, I'm not afraid to kill characters. You know that, Joe, especially back in the day. But sometimes I would put them in there and not purposely. I ran modules a lot, and I remember many modules you would face off against a Wraith at maybe 4th level, and I'm like, these things are. And the first time I did it, I didn't think about it. And I just practically murdered a whole party. But to be fair, you guys were literally encountering a Wraith for probably the first time ever in your life. And it was just murder fest. And I remember the look on your faces when I said, "Oh, you lost a level." And you're like, "What do you mean? I mean, you're 3rd level now." What? I mean, yeah.
Here's the thing about the early game was level loss wasn't as catastrophic. I mean, it felt like it because it sucked, but it wasn't as catastrophic as it is perhaps in later editions where you get more from your level, you level faster, more powerful kind of in general.
Yeah.
But the power curve in earlier editions was a lot flatter. So, yeah, you had to grind a little bit more to get it back, and it sucks. But you can. Or you just make up a new character.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just is the shadow the one that drains the shadow the one that drains strength?
Yes. Well, they do strength damage in 3.5. Strength drain early on, though. They were low hit guys, but they were pretty painful. And this is truth, Cal. You better put some spec on that name.
Yeah. So,
dude, they were.
And that's right. Respect. Fear.
Yeah.
There's an incorporeal undead in front of you. What do? Run.
Yep.
That's always been that's always been almost always an option, unless you put that. Lots of early games, you walk into a room, the door slams shut behind you and locks.
Yep. I had more people quit games over level drain than from being killed. My players wouldn't quit, but that was mainly because we were young and I was the only dude in town that was running D&D that they knew. But probably it was more like they would just they lost a level or two. They're like, I don't care. I hate it. Like Joe said, they just punt the character. I'm making a new character up. I don't want to.
Yeah. So shadow.
Yeah.
Shadow and Son's buddies.
Mm-hmm.
The drain your strength. You go from being you have a 2 or 3 strength now.
Yeah, and you're a fighter.
And no realistic options to get it back.
Not at 3rd level, you don't have the cash to get a high level priest to do it. And
right.
And if you're in the village of Hamlet, where's the high level priest at?
Right. So, and Randy's not just going to have one show up out of the blue just to save your butt.
No, why would
I? So if you already know there's no option for you to get back to normal, apart from if you just lose a level or 2, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. But when those other stats get drained to nothing, time for a new character. I don't care who you are. A 3 strength fighter is not worth playing.
Yeah. And when everybody else is 9th level and you get drained down to 3rd level, there was a lot of frustration there too. Even though they started with the 1st level character, it's like, I just don't want to look at this guy anymore. And plus they knew they could start a new character. And if they ran with the high, we used to always make everybody start at 1st level. So if you were 8th level, the party was 8th level roughly, and you dropped to 1st, you'd be gaining experience like that. You'd be at 3rd or 4th level before you knew it.
Oh, so your strength comes back 2 to 8 turns after being touched. Okay, so if that's the case, then that was never really a big problem.
Oh, okay.
I do know. I do remember thinking about new characters after encountering certain sorts of undead.
Right.
It might not have been a shadow, but it was other stuff.
Yeah.
Drains you down to nothing. I do remember getting drained to 1st level from like 5th or 7th.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
And that level drain thing's its own topic. We've talked about it. I don't know. I'm somewhere I see the good and the bad of it. I see more bad than good, but it was a thing. Oh yes, dude. Yes. Good DM can make shadows very deadly, even with return. Yep.
Yeah, a decently leveled party. You don't just run into a shadow or 2. Run into several.
2 to 8 turns is 20 minutes to an hour and 20.
Yeah. So, no matter what version of D&D it is, you're done for that fight as far as your strength.
You could get completely moidalized.
Because if you lose all your strength, you become a shadow.
If you go to 0, at least you did in 3.5. Yes, I don't know about in 2E. In 3rd edition, absolutely. What about ecology and stuff? So thinking about undead and Incorporeal Undead. How do they tend to fit in the world? I guess they're basically.
I think there needs to be some cosmological consideration.
Yeah.
Some lore. I mean, you can as a DM. Okay, need is probably strength. 0 strength equals a shadow.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can just run undead as is, just as they're written in the book, especially randomly, especially a lot of folks who like to be impromptu as a DM, throw things together on the fly and turn the corner and there's a bunch of ghosts. Sorry about your luck. With a little consideration for lore, how they fit into their world. You can do that. Right. I think, though, a little more interesting if you have some bit of lore behind them that makes sense within your world, because it'll make it a little interesting, even if you don't have it at the beginning.
Right.
If you as you play, for some reason or another, you end up having a lot of undead, and the players want to dig into it. You should provide them some lore, and it should make some kind of sense, or just be fun. It doesn't necessarily have to make a lot of sense.
But there's a place where they should fit in. I think why do spirits come back? And we're going to tackle this in a minute with alternate takes. But you need to make some kind of caveat, some sort of rule for that, some sort of reason, at least in your own mind. I think why they're there.
And they don't necessarily fit in all that well, especially ghosts, with like the standard cosmology of D&D. When you die, your spirit goes somewhere to petition, and you go through some process. If you're a bad guy, your spirit goes down to hell. I mean, there's no real ifs, ands, or buts about that. Yeah. But the ghost puts a wrinkle in that, because, like I was saying earlier, real world mythology says ghosts stay here because they have unfinished business. Well, Odin doesn't care what your unfinished business is. You get up here right now, dude.
And I've heard some people, I think in Dragon magazines, and I've read it, and I would easily justify it. I would just say a few souls are strong enough, willful enough, to say, screw you, Odin. I'm not going to the light, and you can't make me. And Odin's like, you'll be here eventually. You're going to get tired of living there.
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean, you could justify it that way.
Yeah, yes.
But
ecologically, an actual ecology of these guys, a lot of them are tomb inhabitants. So,
which does make sense,
and
it would cause adventurers to encounter them. So that would be a thing they would need to be concerned about.
They could be under the power of some other more powerful undead or necromancer. So they fit into the logic of the world without necessarily needing an ecological niche.
True. Looks like John's heading out. It's 1:37. He's going to be driving early in the morning. Take care, bud. Thanks so much for joining. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Let us know if you're doing a live stream, and Joe and I'll try to stay up one night and hang out with you a little bit. Pay you back. Appreciate it. Can you remember any really great uses or experiences you had as playing?
Okay. Hold on. Stop.
Yeah.
Max says, in 5th edition, shadows are people too. Many are bards.
He got to be joking.
So, it's 5th edition, so I wouldn't put it past them. I'm still getting a ding. I don't know what that ding is coming from.
You're right.
Maybe it's coming from here.
I may have gotten a ding, to be fair. I got a ding.
Okay, so I'm closing some windows. So
I'm a ding man. Ding bat. Let me shut mine down too, in case we get the double ding. Doesn't sound good. Oh. Okay. So anyway, my thought is, when I think about experiences with undead, probably the Banshee stands out the most in my campaigns. No, Max was joking. But he said, even if I was joking, it's probably true. He's right, dude. There's no telling what they're going to make character races these days.
Well, there's the whole Orcstar people to kerfuffle on Twitter that I was talking about earlier. So
yeah,
yeah,
I think
I wouldn't doubt it. Undead are people too.
I remember. You tell me if I'm wrong. That wasn't I mainly the. Like I would bring a Banshee in somewhere, and I would usually put them in a swamp. And I wasn't. I mean, I would be happy to kill you guys, but you guys usually had a chance to know there was one roaming around because you would hear them moaning and groaning in the distance before they used their wail. And you guys, if I remember correctly, mostly chose to avoid. Pretty much no matter what level you were, which is wise.
Or if it wasn't a groaning spirit, if it was an actual ghost,
right?
I would try to convince you to let me figure out what we could do to send it on its way without fighting it. Yeah. You didn't often let me do that, but you did sometimes when it made sense.
Well, the truth is probably because I just at the moment didn't have a good reason. It was like Ghost be a cool fight. I like Magic Jar. I'll Magic Jar Joe's butt, cast a spell and kill the party.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Magic Jar would be powerful.
I mean, that was a lot of our plan then was that I'm remembering was early days. I'm thinking later on, even the 3rd edition era, I probably used Wraith. No, I didn't use Incorporeal. I guess I used it some. I'm probably a big fan of Shadows. But nothing really comes to mind as far as something really great experience I can recall with Incorporeal Undead. You had the one DM that did the drain the level through the floor. Do you have any others that you remember that were significant?
That's primarily it. Oh, yeah. He was fond of giving them character levels too, but
well, Shadows booking later, buddy. Thanks for hanging out this long.
See you later.
Let's say we slide into the alternate takes. Did you want to? I thought I would. Did you have any? I have 3 down. Did you make them yourself or?
I have one in mind. So you go ahead and I've got commentary on them.
Okay. So number 1, this was just me thinking about what would be an alternate way to use these Incorporeal Undead. I said, first, make them more dangerous as spirits, which cannot be hurt by mortal weapons. Maybe even nothing short of exorcism or a barrier type magic. So in other words, make them truly scary. So when that idea that you see in a ghost, your fighters are like, I'm useless. And maybe they should be because they don't have physical form. Magic or otherwise, it's not about that. They don't actually, there's no body for you to murderize and take hit points from. You may even have to find some ritual to banish them back, like you said, to some nether region or perhaps put them to rest. This would make them story-rich monsters. I mean, they would have a story behind why they're there. You wouldn't put them in willy-nilly, and they would be very hard to kill directly. And I mean any of them. So I would not have a dungeon full of, you're going to fight 12 Wraiths. Nope. You're going to fight 4 or 5 Shadows. Nope. There's something about them that's special, so that they would probably appear more singular and be more special. And maybe you would just call them spirits and not necessarily label them as ghosts, whatever. You could use a spirit, could have any power you want. That's, you can steal from a Banshee, you can steal from a ghost. And the players wouldn't know until they learned about their story. Right.
So what I was saying is just that the players would need to find what is tying them to the world of the living. A good way to do that, or some good reasons, are something else is controlling them, perhaps another spirit, powerful, or a necromancer, perhaps. A caveat to this could be something a la Supernatural, where there were a couple of different things that you could do that could disrupt them, but not necessarily kill them.
Yeah.
Cold iron. They used cold iron on a couple of ghosts. They had crowbar or something like that. It made the thing dissipate, and it took a while for it to reform.
Yeah.
And salt was a barrier.
Yeah.
So
iron would dissipate them for a short while.
Just a short while. So having something like that, some mundane things you could use once you have tangled with one and maybe done some research, then you could use them to keep yourself from getting murdered.
Yep. I like what Sean Driscoll, put the candle back is what removes the shadow.
You didn't say that right.
Oh.
Put the candle back.
So it's something I should recognize from, is it Young Frankenstein?
Young Frankenstein.
Then you find a diary number that tells the story. Okay. I'm sorry. Good one, Sean. Dude, I'm not that conversant in Young Frankenstein. I have seen it though.
So yeah, and having something like that, especially if you maybe throw out the turning bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So perhaps instead of turning, you have to do a specific ritual.
Yep. That's
and
what
then
Darth was saying that in particular back a while back, require specific action that needs to be completed before. Yeah. And I think you'd have to, I didn't think of that. That's a good point, Joe.
And that could keep that undead viable.
Yeah.
Through levels. You could use them anywhere. And you wouldn't have to worry about the power of the, I mean, sure, you've got in various versions of D&D, undead busting spells and whatnot.
Sure.
But apart from, you don't want to house roll every little bitty thing.
No.
But those broad strokes can get that undead thing in a much larger range of levels and usefulness instead of it being a narrow band.
And a spell I never liked, because I thought it was kind of silly that it affected mainly demons and devils. I think Spirit Rack could be manipulated in that setting to get information from them if you're so inclined, or maybe that could be one of the few spells that can actually do something to them.
Or banishment.
Yeah, or banishment. And so that's pretty high level. But Spirit Rack might force them to tell you, why are you here? What are you seeking? Yep. And maybe it would give them, they could say that, to put the candle back.
Yes.
So I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Arnman says shorten the time the spirit stays away if turned. Sure. I would be more inclined to not let them be turned at all.
Maybe not turned, maybe kept at bay.
Maybe kept at bay is the best you could do.
That's probably a good way to do that. So instead of making them flee, the particularly intelligent and powerful undead, they just can't come. They can't touch you physically, and they stay away from you. Maybe they stay 5 feet away, something like that.
Clerics can't automatically give them the D either. The D in the table. That was not good. Lord forgive me. The destroyed result would be out. I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. You got to pray about that, sir.
I do. I need to pray and repent. Okay. Second one. What if Incorporeal, this is a different approach. What if Incorporeal Undead acted as spirit guides to shamans and wizards? Perhaps even familiars, a la familiar spirits. Creatures you could bind or contract to service, perhaps ones you could treat with in order to learn arcane secrets. Each type would be ranked by deadliness and power, having correspondingly valuable, useful information. Or just grouped together as spirits, giving them the powers you wished. So in other words, the Banshee type, this is a groaning spirit. The groaning spirit is upset because he failed at some ritual as a mage, or he failed at learning this secret as an alchemist. And if you can get him to describe it, if you can get him to tell you what, because he's very secretive, because he never figured it out. He doesn't want you to. So you have to deal with him, and perhaps you can find some way to get him to tell you what's going on. And you could either finish his work, or maybe you and he together would figure it out. You could almost, like I said, it'd be interesting to make them actual familiar types where they follow you around.
One idea I had for a story is similar to this, where a person is tormented by nightmares. They become waking dreams. He looks in a mirror. Instead of his own face, he sees a ghostly image there, and eventually, the creature is able to tell them that, "Hey, wake up, dude! I'm your mentor. You are a powerful wizard, and I have to train you, or just wizard. Maybe not powerful, but you are someone I need to train up." Mm-hmm. And kind of an origin story. But yeah, that would be cool. Not all spirits, and it doesn't need to be confined to just the familiar spirits or a spirit that is friendly to spellcasters to help them. You could just say that not all disembodied spirits are evil,
Yep.
and some are useful. I wouldn't go so far as Harry Potter, where they had 15 million
Right.
spirits in their
No.
castle and they were all goofy. But having a few kick around that are significant.
Maybe go Dresden style, like Bob, and if those that know the skull and Bob inside there, he's a spirit that maybe was once a person, maybe not. Maybe it's a complete creature from the spirit realm, the netherworld, and he just likes to be free. And so if you give him a place, maybe he wants a body. Ooh, that could be dark. Or maybe he just wants a place to live, like in your domain, and he'll share information for you. And it could be fun because you could make him a real character like Bob.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I'll do this, but you got to let me inhabit your apprentice for 12 hours because I want to go get laid, because that's what Bob was always looking for, right? And so you'd have to give something up. Maybe I want to go out and eat food for real. I want to inhabit your body so I can eat pizza. Oh, what's Sean saying?
Or if you take a weapon, this might be something up in the chat, but that he's responding to. But take a weapon, it triggers the shadows. Like say you're in a, probably he's meaning you're in a tomb or something.
Sure.
Pick up a weapon out of a tomb and it triggers these shadows. But it's a weapon that can kill them, and after killing the shadows with that weapon, something else is revealed.
Sure, that's a cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty good. And I'm gonna do my last one. And I titled this "The Harrowers." Now, I'm not sure about the first part. I'm saying, what if Incorporeal Undead were sort of an organization who hungered for life again, even if it's only a semblance. They're taking over the bodies of living people, humans and demi-humans alike. A few such souls are just driven wicked enough to return from the dead. Perhaps they escaped hell's clutches, seeking to inhabit people's bodies. The more powerful amongst them can even slowly eat the host's soul and fully inhabit them, gaining new life, or a version of new life. So one possesses me, they destroy my soul, and they're Randy, or whatever they want to call themselves. Allow the creature's powers to manifest through their host. Maybe a wraith-possessed individual has a cold touch. Slowly, after sapping his life, developing, slowly developing the ability to sap life from others, perhaps needing to sustain the possession and hate sunlight. Maybe a ghost-possessed person begins to change his life completely, trying to mimic or make up for the tragic events that caused the ghost's demise, perhaps even as far as leaving the host family and starting a new one. So maybe, he accidentally caused the death of his wife. And so he takes over this one guy's body, who's married, leaves her, and tries to go back and reconcile with his children. And starting a new one. So that would be, or try to relive his own life. Maybe he killed himself and was really sorry, and goes back and he wants to find his wife. I think that would be interesting. And the idea here, Harrowers is the name. It's kind of from Deadlands. Those that play Deadlands knows you can play an undead gunslinger who is called Harrowed, but he's possessed by a demon technically, but brought back to an unlife sort of state. But I think that would be interesting if all spirits, you clumped them all together, and a wraith spirit could level drain, a shadow spirit could strength drain, maybe eventually, maybe as a cold touch, maybe not. Maybe you just, reinvent the idea of what does it mean to have a incorporeal undead. They literally all possess people because they hunger to live again. Yeah.
So by organization, you don't mean they have meetings and they pay dues and
no, but
bylaws.
Yeah, I think that word almost maybe it's a group of them that do this. So maybe you have your regular ghosts and shadows and banshees.
A category of undead.
Category. That's a better word than organization. Yeah, I was a little stream of consciousness with this list.
Sure thing.
But
that's cool.
This actually intrigues me. I think I would definitely be willing. I'm probably going to experiment with that anyway. I like that idea. This is the one that I really like. So.
Well, in that vein, the idea I had, it's not original to me, but there is a book series that my wife reads, and sometimes I read to her from it. And it is a pair of it's modern day, and it's a pair of women who are paranormal investigators.
Okay.
In this, the lore of this series, ghosts are real, and they go there, they capture them, and in this, when a spirit doesn't move along for whatever reason there is, they start out fairly normal, low energy, They're just floating around trying to figure things out.
Mhm.
The longer they stay around, the more they have the potential for becoming evil, because they go kind of crazy and they absorb energy from around them. It gives them different powers.
Supernatural's a little like that with some ghosts.
Right. So
Crazy. Yeah.
you could redesign the various incorporeal undead to be stages
Yes.
and say, after 100 years, maybe you become
Shadow.
a ghost. No, a ghost. So you start out just a disembodied spirit with no real abilities to drain levels or anything like that. You might be able to magic jar, but I would say you would magic jar, but it'd be difficult. You'd have to.
Or even if you did it, maybe just enough to say, "Oh, I can't believe woe is me," just for a few minutes, and then you're out of the body.
Yeah, kind of like Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
When they first got their mojo, they weren't able to do anything spectacular, but just funny. So, so you start out with low power, and you might be even have different paths. You might not all disembodied spirits. Every PC you kill, you gain an undead upgrade. Yeah, that's cool.
That would work great with the Harrowers.
Sure. So maybe not all disembodied spirits end up becoming shadows or grown spirits or whatever. It'd be up to the DM, I would say.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea, actually. I like
so that. Yeah, and then you could the PCs, as they explore the world, they might find bits and pieces of that lore and put it together, or may not. It all depends on what happens, but that would be a cool way to have undead, and you don't even need to have every ghost having all the same powers.
Nope.
So you can just have spirit, and then have a list of powers, and you decide what they have, how long they've been around, whether they're evil or not. They might not be. So especially, I think in this book series, if the spirit remains like this one, the one, some of the spirits seem very friendly and able to help. But I can't remember what the circumstances were,
right,
as far as why them, except maybe it was, convenient for the story.
Right.
But you can make up certain things, like maybe they stay in their domain, and their domain is undisturbed largely, so they're not disturbed. They don't have to worry about going mad, and maybe it just takes a real long time under those circumstances. But if you're in a tomb and it's always getting raided by those pesky PCs, they're waking you up at all times, you're going to get mad every once in a while and have to drain one of those PCs. You get some XP, and hey, now you can magic jar those crazy people.
Right. I like that. That's cool. No, I think that's about all we got on the
Kill Raven. The 2E Van Richten's Guide to Ghosts gives them different magnitudes. So that's something.
I never bought that one, but that's interesting. Yeah, cool.
Undead upgrade. Resist exorcism.
I like the way you think, Cal. That's good. Yeah.
Oh, you can design a whole adventure around a ghost trying to obtain that power.
Or a campaign.
They magic jar various people and get you to do things for them, and they acquire all the means for them to obtain that power through you. That'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, Kill Raven says they're all worth having. Yeah, I agree. I wish I did have them. I think I had a few before. I gave a lot of my stuff up. Cal says, "Yep, table breakers are in session, so you're going to have to pick." And we like you best, Cal.
We really like you.
No, dude, that's cool.
I wonder how much those Van Richten's guides are on eBay. Worth looking up.
Yeah,
probably can get them pretty cheap as PDFs and maybe have print them out on Lulu.
Yeah, there's really no telling. I'm doing it right now.
Darthic. Cal says, "I'm still here."
Yeah. $20 for Van Richten's Guide.
That's not bad.
Buy it now.
20?
Yeah, in the shrink 64.
Well, I don't need it to shrink. According to Darth Thick, 2E Ravenloft had a lot of stuff for Undead that was both very cool and very dangerous.
Yeah. I remember when I was into Ravenloft Heavy, boy, there was a lot of cool Undead stuff. But no, that was kind of their wheelhouse.
Cal says he's haunting.
Ooh.
Has he given himself away?
He
Has he done that? I think he has.
I think he's been attacked by Shadow, and he's been changed into a shadow, and he's been left here.
He didn't put the candle back.
He didn't put the candle back. Oh. Shall we hit our one random question? And
Sure thing. Okay, so I didn't have anything more with the Incorporeal Undead.
No.
I'm hoping that, but I thought we brought up some interesting, cool things for these guys, and hopefully going forward when we do the monsters, we can provide something more than just this is what they do.
Yeah, I kind of tried to, those that know, try to do that quickly tonight. I just picked some things that I thought were neat. We may revamp this format a little bit, but I do like the alternate takes. I know I would want to hear that if I was watching a show. I would prefer alternate takes because I know all the powers they have. I've been a D&D nut for 40-something years, so I don't need that review. But it was fun to reminisce of the old. It was kind of neat to read the old monsters. Like, dude, I didn't know ghosts could do that. I didn't know shadows could do that back in the day, or I didn't remember it. It was more likely the way.
Right. It's you play many editions, and some you haven't played in a while. You can't keep Well, some people may be able to keep all that in their head. I can't
anymore. It's not. It used to. I know back in the day, I was pretty proud of myself during second edition. I knew my monster. I mean, backwards and forwards, but not so much anymore.
Right.
All right.
So, but if you guys have any suggestions for future monsters, hit us up either on Anchor or hit us up email or leave comments here in the video, and we will do our best to follow up on that.
Yeah, AD&D 1E Lords of Darkness. I think I may have had that at one time. So yeah, I think that was pretty sweet.
Is that a module or is that a supplement?
I think it was a supplement.
And was that a TSR property or
almost positive?
Because Lords of Darkness, that almost sounds like it could have been a Rolaids type of thing.
It sounds like a 3E one though, but he said nope. Yeah, it was AD&D Forgotten Realms. Yeah, I had that. Yes, I did, and he's right. It was seriously good. Man, I got rid of such good stuff. I didn't give it away. I got paid, but still, I wish I could. The TSR supplement.
Thank you, Darth. This is one thing that I have to work into how we conduct our live stream. Please like, share, and subscribe this live stream, this YouTube video after the fact, perhaps, and our podcast if you want to help us out even more.
Yeah, thanks, Random Internet Hijinks. That's definitely a good supplement. Subscribe to our stuff. Biggest geekus. All right. So next segment.
Yes.
What? Yes, thanks, Killraven. I knew there's a 3E version of that.
I need to grab me some water.
Okay.
If you can entertain the people while I am away, I would appreciate it.
Okay. I am very entertaining. So while Joe is getting water, Lords of Darkness, when it comes to ghosts, well, Van Richten's got, I guess. I think I had about 6 of them, and it looks like they're reasonably priced, though that Lords of Darkness book is $35. That is not ridiculous. What was the one? I'm trying to remember which one was 2E Lords of Darkness was mostly adventures. That sounds right. I thought Lords of Darkness, wasn't that a splat book in 3.5 for the undead, or am I thinking of something else? Checking it out now on eBay's not coming up with anything remotely close, but my eBay food is not great. So I'm going to jump into the Batman review here in a little bit. The Batman, and like I said, I kind of am doing this as a catharsis, I guess, because I actually felt guilty watching it, because months ago I was like, I'm through with DC and Marvel, and then I caved in. But I do think after watching it, it's not that I felt dirty. I actually felt more justified in my decision. So I think I'm out of it again for sure. But yeah. Ooh, I once armed a shadow with 3-5. Dig this. I once armed a shadow with ghost touch armor and weapons.
Yeah.
Suck it, dudes. Yeah, I'm sure your PCs were quite happy with that. Oh, all right. Before we get into the Batman review, we're going to save for last, but I'm going to do a one random question, and I think Joe will have an opinion. I'm not sure we're going to be on this. I'm not sure. I'm just interested to see how this goes out. Here's the one question. This is, of course, quasi-random. Is it GM or DM?
If you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, it's DM.
For sure.
Nothing else. I prefer that for the title of the runner of the game, unless it's really just not appropriate. Like if you're running something modern or sci-fi, DM is probably out of bounds. But anything else, I'll just say DM.
Yeah, I think we tend to use that. We in our group tend to use that as a generic.
Yeah.
What are you DMing? I'm going to DM Savage Worlds.
Yeah.
We've said that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, yeah, I know there's like all kinds of titles like storyteller and chronicler, and I think they have to. I think DM, is it proprietary? I think it is. Is DM?
I don't know. It may be. It may be. I can't say one way or the other.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Killraven says DM regardless. Tend to GM. I do say GM a lot, says Max. I do it as well. But DM is definitely something that I have used a lot. My friends use a lot. Who's going to be the DM in the next campaign? We say that a lot, and it may not be a D&D campaign. So in the end, it doesn't matter.
Not really
accurate. And Game Master is just a general, right? It's just a
Game Master is general. Yeah, that could be for anything.
Max says, there's only DM and GM. All others pretenders. I'll use GM in the place of everything else. You mean you don't want to be Game Mother in Aliens? That's GM. I get it, kind of, but I still I get a little prickly at it.
Yeah, because, the computer system is Mother, but that's not the guy running. It's going to be a guy most of the time.
Yeah,
the games.
Let's be honest.
Is not running. A Mother is one thing that they're running amongst all other things. So calling the DM, I get why they do, because it's iconic to the IP.
But I think he was also a little bendy of the knee.
Oh, sure. Let's call it Mother because progress.
Yeah, and that's true. Legion says they always went to Mother for info and support. That's fair, and I hope that's why Free League did it. But I guess I'm just so suspicious these days that I'm thinking, it was more than that. So at first I was kind of angry when I read it. And I said, oh, wait a minute. Mother was the name of the computer system. So
yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's all right. Did they change it in Prometheus?
I'm not sure. I don't remember that reference.
They call it
Aliens as well. It wasn't really referenced as much as it was in the first movie.
Yeah,
as Mother. I mean, it was said some, but I don't think it was as heavily referenced.
Yeah,
not from my memory.
Yeah, I can't recall. But yeah. So not as interesting. One random question, I guess, but
no, but people do have strong opinions about that.
It's kind of weird, though, isn't it?
It is
strong opinion. I mean, it's okay that you do, but it's like Game Master is in my mind, the generic title.
Right. But this is the thing. When I have a strong opinion about stuff like this in games, it's for me. It's not for you. You can say whatever word you want. I don't care. Right. I'm going to say DM most of the time.
Sure.
Unless it's just doesn't fit. And then someone wants to correct me, I'll just probably ignore them.
And originally it was neither one. It was referee in OD&D.
Right. I think Dungeon Master is AD&D was where it came up, or was it in the Beckme stuff?
I want to say it was Beckman, but I know it wasn't in OD&D.
Right. It was
that
not.
makes sense. It came from War Games, and there was a referee. Legion of Myth, ain't nobody my master. True. I'm surprised. Has that come under fire at all?
Of course. So in the computer world, you have slave master for different bits of computer hardware. And people are butthurt about that, and they want to change those words. I can't remember what they want, though.
In computers, in computer language and stuff?
Yeah, well...
This thing's a slave to that? They don't like that?
No. And the other thing is called a master.
Oh my God! Heaven forbid.
It's stupid.
Yeah. All right.
And it's just like people have been wanting to do these things with words at least 20 years now. I think it started with you have to take the word man out of everything because how dare you say man, and it's so man, patriarchy crap. But
patriarchy.
But now, slave master, computer, no, colonialism, blah. Stupid.
Says we called it Dungeon Master and we played OD&D with expansions pre-Beck me. Yeah, I don't know when it came in on man. I just know I read that originally, and I had the booklet. I don't think Dungeon Master is the title. Oh yeah, no longer Slave 1.
It's stupid.
No. Max, primary and secondary. I still say master slave. I also say gender bender for a male to male cable connector. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never knew that was. I never knew that gender bender reference to as far as cabling goes. But I understand why.
Random internet hijinks may have found it. I think in the home set was the first time. I think he might be right, which was pretty early on. That was in print. That was early on, and like our man said, people probably were using it before. But I think he's right. I think that is true. That Eric J. Holmes, that was before BX. Well, his BX? I don't know. I don't know all the titles. BX was Moldvay, or he was BX and Moldvay. I don't know. So, but not technically Beck me by Mincer. It was well before.
Yeah, I don't know all those delineations. When I refer to all the you got old D&D and then the set of basic, expert, and so forth. I call that me, even though Moldvay and all those other ones are slightly different.
I think Eric J. Holmes did basic, and then Moldvay did basic, expert, BX, and then Mincer did basic, expert, companion, blah blah blah, master, immortals. So I believe. So and
it could be. I don't know.
Austin compiled all that crap, all the Beck me stuff in Rules Cyclopedia.
Rules Cyclopedia.
Yes.
One book to rule them all.
All right. So. Let me get to the Batman reviews. I'm sure Joe's not seen it because Joe
won't see it.
Joe is stronger than Randy at this point with this stuff. But I don't. Like I said, I felt bad, but honestly, I did. After I thought, I was like, you didn't really enjoy it, so you're not missing anything. And I want to talk about. There were some good things to it. So you got Gotham. Gotham looks pretty cool, though. Some of my opinions are mixed with mine. Friend Greg, who watched it with me, and Silent Josh, who watched it with me. Some of their opinions are, and I agree with some, so I'm going to kind of pretend it's mine and take credit. I think it was Greg who mentioned, though, I'm not sure if they were going for an 80s or a modern aesthetic. At times, it looked 80-ish in the 80s. Other times, they were looking very modern. So that was kind of like, was very kind of disconcerting sometimes the way the backdrop looked. The script was bad. And by bad, I don't mean, it wasn't like it was, oh my God, this is so horrific. But sometimes, like when Gordon was talking to Batman, it just felt like a poor comic book script, and they were talking really kind of stilted, predictable, and sort of weak. They didn't handle the lore, in my opinion, very well. I didn't like the fact, and there's be spoilers here. Let me pause. If you don't want any spoilers, you need to stop listening. So here it comes. Spoiler time. Subscribe while I spoil. The Riddler being a serial killer, I thought was dumb. I thought they made a connection with Falcone, the mobster, and Thomas Wayne, Batman's dad, that they implied that Thomas Wayne was being harassed by the Riddler's father, and that he was not this good altruistic guy that they thought he was. He was doing some shady stuff on the side, supposedly. And this reporter was such a thorn in his side that Thomas Wayne went to a mobster and said, "Can you just make him shut up?" And Falcone killed him. And I'm like, Thomas Wayne was a good dude. Why are you? You got to drag his. He's got to be this, this. What's the word I'm looking for? Flawed character. Yeah, Killraven, you're right. Says the Riddler being a Zodiac killer ripoff was insulting. There is one already in the Batman lore, Zaz Tam. Use him if you want a serial killer. He's awesome and completely twisted. He literally keeps track with tally marks of every victim he has, and his body is covered in just tally marks. He cuts himself, and Zaz Tam was a crazy killer. So they didn't.
Question though, what observation? Not having seen it, but from your description,
sure.
It seems that these folks tend to overconnect bits of lore together, or characters. They have to overly weave. Everything's tangled together, where it wasn't before. There was no need for it. Bruce Wayne's parents were killed by some assailant in the original lore, and that drove Bruce Wayne to be a vigilante hero. I think in the movies from the 80s, they made it out to be the Joker that killed his parents, but I think that they invented that for the movie, correct?
Yes, that was not originally. Okay, so let's pause, and we're going to pause on the Batman for a second. A couple of folks are clarifying. We got them digging deep. Armez says Dungeon Master was used through OD&D Supplement 6, Eldritch Wizardry 1 year prior to Holmes. Fair enough. And then Random says the first reference I can find to the DM in the rules is in the Blackmore supplement from OD&D, which might be the same thing. I don't know.
But it's in a supplement.
Yeah, it was not in the original.
Either way.
Not the original 3 booklets. But anyway, yeah, I think that's true, Joe. And they even implied that, Thomas Wayne's wife, Martha, was in Arkham, the first person in Arkham, and that they were close friends with the Arkham family, keeping it all hush-hush. And apparently Thomas Wayne was upset because this reporter, found out that Martha was in an insane asylum. Like, really? That would make you upset? It just wasn't very believable. The music was kind of weird, but okay. Supplement 5, our man says. It was year 2 for Batman. He did seem to, the GCPD seemed too accepting of him, or at least James Gordon was like completely okay with him being at this crime scene, even though some of the police were against it, which I can understand, because GCPD, before Gordon becomes lieutenant or the captain or the commissioner, they're really dirty. The GCPD is super dirty. They're from a lot of bad cops. So
right, that's a carryover, and that's bad cops defund the police.
Well, but it is accurate to the books. I mean, GCPD was in the comics were not before.
Oh, okay, well that's fine.
Before Gordon became captain, they were a lot of dirty dealing there. Now, fighting was pretty good, and it wasn't over the top, which made sense because he's a young Batman. He's not going to be super ninja guy, unbelievable. I mean, he was having to beat guys down, hit them multiple times, whereas the Bat that you read about in the comics, at least I did back in the 90s, he'd take folks out with one punch, twist their arm behind their back and just take them out quick. I thought the Bat encountered the Catwoman, and guess what, Joe? He took her out like that. Pinned her to a table in about 3 seconds flat. And she was ninja kick, and he's like, bam, done.
Well, at least they didn't bend the knee on that.
Well, that was realistic because she went big as a handful of minutes. I mean,
right.
Zoe Kravitz, I can't buy that. And they didn't try to push that on you. I did think at the end, again, I'm giving spoilers away, the Riddler, Batman was told the story by the Riddler. He gave himself sort of away near the end, and it was really weak. Especially after the Riddler had been shown to be very capable. I mean, the Riddler was his riddles were good, and it seemed like the Riddler that he was killing people, which is a little dark, trying to be Joker or something. but he was like, he showed to be really capable. The Batman hadn't figured him out at all. And then all of a sudden he's like, he gives it away and gives himself up. And I'm like, what is this? And he started portraying himself like, we are kindred spirits. I'm like, God, you're channeling the Joker now. So whatever.
So I would say if I wrote that part, I would say that was a ploy for a deeper puzzle.
Yes.
That would be the way to go with that.
Supposedly he had all these bombs all around Gotham. You're never going to be able to shut them off. And it's like, what?
Oh, that's kind of like before.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty weak. And at the very end, the Riddler is in his talk. Someone talks to him after Batman foils him. And there's a guy in the cell next to him. Of course, it's sounding like the Joker. The actors, I'm getting to the actors. It was really hard to buy Robert Pattinson, even as a younger Bats. He's way too thin. And I couldn't shake. I'm not normally that put off, but he was way too thin. And when he took his shirt off, I was like, really? You're the Batman? I know you can have long, lean muscles and be a great fighter. I understand it. But Batman, dude, he is really buffed out.
Yeah.
Randy's young, but he should have still been pretty big. I mean, Batman was like 6'4", dude. And Pattinson looked, he just looked not impressive. I did like all the gadgets, and they were all early stage gadgets being year 2. There was a great one where he was using his prototype gliding thing where he would have the kinetic glide wing, his cloak, and he glided down, was going under an overpass as a bus was going over trying to land on it, and he hit it and knocked him off into a trash can. He's rolling all over the place. So he had some fumbles being young with that, and I thought that's what they were trying to show. I think that was okay. It showed him being young at times. He was not like the perfect, well-oiled machine that is Batman.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Alfred was played by Andy Serkis. He was okay. He was hurt by the Riddler in an explosion, and there was a poignant scene.
Overly connected.
Huh?
Overly connected.
But because Riddler was going to kill Bruce Wayne. I won't go into the details. And of course he was home. It blew up in his face, and Batman was kind of a whiny teenager. I'm doing this no matter what. And Alfred's trying to guide him as a more, settled, skilled, older man. And he was resenting Alfred. And then when Alfred almost died, they had a bit of a poignant moment in the.
That happened in the continuity of the movie. Blowing up. Okay, that wasn't a background.
No,
never mind.
This happened in the movie, and then Alfred was in the hospital bed, and you could almost see Bruce. This is where Pattinson did well. He finally said, "Wait a minute, this guy has raised me, and I need to respect that." And I almost lost him because he kept trying to tell him, "Don't be so crazy. You got to do things more methodically." And that was good. That was pretty good. And you could see Bruce beginning to leave the arrogant prick stage and to become more and respect him as a faithful butler that Alfred was. He was okay. Like I said, Andy Serkis was fine. To me, I think Michael Caine has been the best Alfred that I've ever seen.
Of course, it's Michael Caine.
But the guy that played Alfred in Gotham, the TV series, was really good, but I didn't like the TV series.
Yeah, haven't seen any of that.
Jeffrey Wright played Lieutenant Gordon. He is a good actor. He was a horrible fit for the role.
Of course.
I thought he was
Gordon's white dude.
I don't even care about that. He was not, I just didn't buy him as Gordon at all. And Catwoman was played by Zoe Kravitz. Too tiny. She was cute. At times she was they played her as tough because she was super quick. The Catwoman is quick. And she can cut you with her claws, and she can kick you in the face with her high heels. I mean, the girl, if you're not paying attention, she'll kick you in the teeth, right? That's for sure. But sometimes Batman beat her quickly. And then this one thug, she just knocks him out with one kick. And I guess it's possible, but it just felt a little hard to buy. I liked her sneaky side. I didn't care for much for the fighting. She had a few good lines, though. She had a bad line, too, when she was like, white privileged males. Which
blah, blah,
all
blah.
the white males were idiots. And that was a fact in the whole show. She did have a few good lines, though. Penguin, Colin Farrell, he's caught a lot of like praise. He was good. I didn't think he was awesome, but I think I'd heard so much about how good he was that I'm not sure he could live up to it. He didn't look like the heinous character that Tim Burton made.
Yeah, that was stupid.
I would say as an actor, he was good. I would say Zoe Kravitz was so-so. I would say Robert Pattinson was so-so. But I would call him good. The guy who played Carmine Falcone was John Turturro. You know him from, he's like from, he was in the original Transformers. He was the government guy that was tall and kind of thin. You would know him.
I would probably know him by looking at him.
He didn't remind me of Falcone, but he did a good job. He had some good scenes, no really bad ones. I thought he did a really good job as Falcone. And Paul Dano, who I would know if I saw him, but I don't know him by name. You may not, I don't know where I would place him at. He portrayed a weak wuss bag who was super smart. He played it really well, which is what the Riddler is. He was good while he was masked up. They had him in a weird full head mask with like goggles and stuff. I think it's an alternate universe. Duh, Batman. That's DC and everybody. But he channeled too much of the Joker, as I said. Reminded me a little bit of Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face.
Yeah, because that was the problem in that movie with Tommy Lee Jones. It was like you have the Joker and the Joker. I mean,
Two-Face was the Joker.
Two-Face wasn't about chaos.
No, randomness. But he wasn't always about randomness. He flipped the coin, but he wasn't about just bringing everything down all the time.
Right.
I do think that he was okay as an acting job. I just liked him better in The Mask. As soon as he took his mask off and he gave his plan away, it was just, who are you? You're just trying to be the Joker. I do wish I hadn't caved in and watched it. I'm glad I didn't pay for it. And I am going to stay strong in the future. I would give it a 5 out of 10 as far as movie goes, because it wasn't trying to slam wokeness down your throat, but it is not, I think it is not even close to being the best Batman. I mean, who's the guy that did The Dark Knight? Nolan? Christopher Nolan?
Yeah.
Easily the best Batman movie. I would put the first Michael Keaton movie of Batman above this. I even honestly, except for Justice League and Batman vs. Superman being a bad movie, I think Ben Affleck was a much better Bat. I think Pattinson is probably next to who's the guy when George Clooney played Batman. I think he's the worst. I just don't buy him as Batman. So yeah, 5 out of 10, and that's only because there was some good. Like I said, it wasn't horrendous. But I just kept saying, no, that's not it. I don't get it. Acting could be better. Writing could be better. Yeah, just not so great. So yeah, you're missing nothing in my opinion.
Get some old Batman comics from your local game store or local comic store or online. I didn't know about that. Killraven says, I think the less notable wokeness was due to the reshoots and delays.
Probably.
There's a couple other movies that have been delayed, and people are saying the same thing about that.
I think, I didn't believe it before, but I'm starting to think maybe we will see the pendulum swing back a little bit.
Yeah, the problem is this. The pendulum, so to speak, will swing in that perhaps the DC movies and Marvel Cinematic Universe will have a movie out that isn't as woke as the others.
Mm-hmm.
But then they'll just use the money they make from that to fund the stuff that is.
True.
And I could be wrong, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the Eric July take.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's enough. Patrick's going to cave in. I'm going to see Doctor Strange. It too is delayed. I'm hoping for the better. All right, I'm going to say. From
what I understand, it's going to be Doctor Strange not appearing in this movie.
Oh, he's going to be in it, but he's
very little.
Who's the little Marvel character girl? Not Miss Marvel. the one that's lesbian or whatever.
Or whatever. It's not going to be about Doctor Strange. It's going to be about the others.
Get ready, Patrick. Scarlet Witch has taken the mantle. Or at least she's going to do all the right things because, Doctor
At
Strange.
least Sorcerer Supreme is a mantle. I mean, Doctor Strange isn't a mantle, but Sorcerer Supreme is.
Yeah. All right, Patrick. Good luck, man. I hope
American
Child. Yeah. So famous.
Yes.
What a great. Who cares about her? She's a nothing. Gosh, all these token replacements.
Doctor Strange already has female characters in his lore.
Dragon.
Chloe.
Yeah. Come on already. No. Well, it's like Darth said. Darth said the same thing. They've got all these good characters and they want to use them. They just don't want to use them.
Or not Chloe. Cleo.
Yes.
Cleo.
And was Wong his butler?
Wong had a wife. Wong has a wife.
Yeah. Killraven. I think Clea's right.
Clea.
Yeah. Thank you, Killraven. Yeah.
So yeah, Wong. I remember in many of the comics, Wong and his wife took care of the house.
Yep.
And that's not going to be in there because they're Asian and they look like servants and colonialism.
Read the old comics, like Joe said. Hunt them down. I hope for Patrick's sake it's enjoyable. I hope he doesn't, because I know he has a radar like we do. He'll see the stupidity, but I don't know. I guess I don't want Eric July to be right, but I think he is. I think if we support that stuff, I think we're looking at helping them. They're just going to throw us a little bone every now and again. But who knows? Maybe it'll be all that in a bag of chips. I doubt it.
I'm still Doctor Strange there was an animated show they brought out a couple of years before the movie, and it was complete crap, trash.
Right. Marvel's
usually. The biggest complaint I had about it was they're all kung fu fighting. All the wizards, all the sorcerers are kung fu fighting. They're manifesting weapons and not casting any real magic. And
wasn't Doctor Strange doing the same thing in his
yeah, and I overlooked it because there were other things about the movie that I liked, but
Kung Fu Inception.
At the end of the day, Doctor Strange suffered from the movie, the live action movie suffered from the same nonsense.
Yeah,
they gender swapped and ethnically swapped the ancient one. One was an old Chinese dude, and they had a European female instead. They had to invent,
who I thought did a good job, Swinton or Swilda.
Tilda Swinton.
She's pretty good. I mean,
she performed her role well, but her role, that was not the ancient one.
Correct. Agreed.
Absolutely not the ancient one. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
They had to manufacture a reason why she was old. Spoilers. Dormammu powered her age. No. The office of the Sorcerer Supreme, in essence, makes you immortal. I mean, Doctor Strange. Yeah, Yes, Patrick.
He's talking about the Disney cartoon, I believe.
Oh, okay.
The Doctor Strange episode was pretty good. I saw them months and months ago. I won't disagree.
Yeah, and there's other parts of it that were strange. So they had to change Mordo into a black dude.
Yeah.
Yet they had that other guy. I can't remember what was his name. The
Dormammu's agent.
Yeah. So Mordo was that in the comic.
Yes.
So they didn't need to change Mordo into a black dude and have that bad guy. They could have just nixed the black dude role and had Mordo do all those things.
Correct. I know. I don't know. I mean, they're just trying to check boxes, dude.
Caecilius. Yes. Caecilius. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So, yeah.
Really Caecilius. Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of things to like about the movie, but those things are irritating.
Yeah. And the truth is, after after being inundated with little bits and more bits over time, it's just after a while you're like, I'm tired of you jabbing everything and kicking the crap at everything that I like. Back to King Waspinator's video, which we can agree wasn't strong enough, but if you're just gonna poop all over the stuff that I like, just because you own it and you can, okay, you can have it. Don't worry about me liking it anymore. Let's see how it works for you.
Yeah.
Well, so far it's working, but I think Marvel's going to start suffering with this, though. I don't know how they're going to carry with their new characters if they go full representation.
Yeah.
So
that's yeah. No thanks. Yes, Darthic. Wasn't the Ancient One named Sorcerer Supreme? Yes. Before any white person arrived in the country. Yeah. So the Ancient One was the Sorcerer Supreme, and the Ancient One selected Doctor Strange after he refused to give in to Baron Mordo as his pupil to become the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
In the comic book. And right.
Yeah.
And if Sorcerer Supreme doesn't convey the immortality, I know he underwent some sort of test, and some cosmic being, he's an outline, a giant outline in space.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Eternity?
Sounds right. I don't know.
Something like that.
I wasn't a Doctor Strange guy.
Right. So Doctor Strange performed some task, and he laid down his life to make sure it worked. And
Right.
then the dude popped up and said, "Yep, you're the one." And Doctor Strange became an immortal after that.
Right. But
yeah,
it can't be that cool. It's not allowed.
Right. And the Ancient One, I don't think in the comic book they ever said why he was so old.
Yeah.
So why did they have to say, why can't you have a mystery? And, why are you so old? Wouldn't you like to know?
Like you said, we all must be connected. The story must all be everybody in the movie must be related somehow.
And they had to twist an early storyline in the comic series where the very first or maybe second issue or second, it was in Strange Tales.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ancient One used an incantation that involved Dormammu to defend himself against dark magic.
Oh, okay.
Okay. About 3 issues later, because Doctor Strange was initially called the Master of Black Magic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then they changed it to Master of the Mystic Arts.
Oh.
To make it less black magic-y, because
that comics code thing?
I'm not sure if it was in that era, but it could be. Okay. But they changed it from black magic to mystic arts, probably because black magic. They probably used the phrase without really understanding connotations. Right. So maybe they just changed it because of that. Who knows? I don't know. I haven't read anything, but I haven't read anything saying why they changed from one to the other, but they did. And from that point on, Dormammu was force for evil, and they never invoked him in any way. Yeah. It was always up to Mordo to invoke him or be his agent.
Patrick said, I actually did like the Eye of Agamotto being the time stone. I know you don't care for it, but I thought it was clever. I thought it was a good way to connect Doctor Strange to the whole...
I haven't seen the last movie in the series, so I don't know if he ended up getting the Eye of Agamotto back, but that pretty much destroyed the Eye of Agamotto once you took out the stone.
Yeah. But if you watch Endgame, I think I don't know if they fix it or not.
Well, I know that I know in watching some Loki reviews mm-hmm. that there's like 50 million stones all over the place.
Right, which is crazy.
They have a drawer full of the stones, different versions of each one.
Yeah. That's why I didn't like the end of that What If series on Disney, is there's this crazy thing where Ultron gets all the stones, and it's just like, it's so weird. I mean, why can't, if 5 Infinity Stones, or I think it's 5. If 5 stones,
5 or 6, yeah,
6 stones are good. 6,000 is better. I mean, that's like so third gradish.
Yeah.
So, but I kind of agree with Patrick. I did think it was kind of clever to tie into the whole Infinity War gauntlet thingy. So, but yeah. Well, man, I think we're about done here. We're ready to wrap this puppy up.
We are. We have stretched beyond 2 hours. I think we are overspending our time.
We are. So thanks everybody for coming out tonight and listening to us and chatting with us. We appreciate that.
One moment.
Always moments.
I have an alternate ending. Ha ha.
Ooh, sweet.
I'm going to share. Let me. Can I? No. I'm trying to zoom in Word. Can you read that at all?
Not at all. Let me make it bigger. Maybe I can. Main topic. Okay, yeah. Oh, interesting. You need to send that back to me. Joe is this. Oh, you're getting a peek behind the scenes, baby.
Yes. So, can you read it?
I can now. If you would like to support our show.
Yeah, just read that instead.
He's giving me the script. Oh, sweet. If you would like to support our show, please like, subscribe, and share us where you are listening or viewing the show. Also, podcast can be found on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, and virtually everywhere you get your podcast. Cash support, which is fun. PayPal at paypal.me/biggestgeekus. Streamlabs, http://streamlab.com/biggestgeekus is at 1.
Yeah.
Oh, a tip jar /tip. Anchor, www.anchor for Biggest Geekus. On the web, our website, www.biggestgeekuspodcast.com. Email at thegeeks@biggestgeekuspodcast.com. Joe's got all the sweetness. All the socials, which I'm going to let Joe provide the link for all that. And videos, Odyssey and YouTube. Our socials are Twitter, Facebook, MeWe, Discord, and Gilded. I am participating in Gilded a little bit more than I did Discord. So I'm trying to post at least every week and just bring up topics with folks. So, all right. Cool.
Yeah. Instead of having just randomly ordered, I figured we could switch, separate it out, especially for the show notes.
Well, we'll work hard on getting that down and smooth and as lovely as we are all the other times we've done it.
Yes. Smooth,
baby. All right, man. Well,
one last thing.
Oh, one more thing.
Patrick Demo. The problem with the MCU is that it keeps trying to out-Gonzo each movie. Agreed.
Correct. Bonus for Patrick, +1 hit points. All right. So next week, I think we're going to be chatting. We're going to be. I'm going to try to. I want to give a preview here. If we can do this, I'm going to steal this from Gaming and BS. I really like how they do it. I think we're going to try to do something like go down the editions of D&D and try to fairly criticize them. And I got to talk with Joe more about it because I want to be as fair as possible and try not to be too opinion. Well, we'll see. That's the plan. We're going to try to criticize D&D a little bit, not to be mean, just to say final things we thought are weaknesses in the game.
Sure, it's not perfect.
No. Oh, Patrick asked a question before we roll. Are we doing a Cabin Con Biggest Geekus this year? Oh, we need to talk about that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I just assumed we would do something there.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if we're doing the show. The last time we tried doing something, I don't have a mobile setup. My laptop bricked last year. I have not gotten a replacement yet. Our situation hasn't. I was hoping our situation would have changed soon enough that I could obtain one before, but I'm not going to. So,
what about my laptop? Is that helpful or not? Do you need your suite setup?
Well,
to stream, you do, right?
No, we don't necessarily need my computer to stream.
Mm-hmm.
We just need good enough internet access to stream.
Which is problematic at the cabins. Yeah,
yes.
We have internet access, but it's not groovy.
It's not very good.
So the week of cabin, we'll talk. I'm going to have a Cabin Con moment next week built into the outline, and I thought we would talk a little bit about that and let the folks know if we're going to have something for them the week of Cabin Con. It's only 2 weeks away, so not next week. Next week we should be podcasting regular time.
Yeah, and then week of Cabin Con.
Yeah, maybe. Probably. I'll be. Yeah, I probably can actually.
I'm going to be off that week, so I can't.
Oh, then we maybe could. Yeah, I probably can on Tuesday.
And are you going to be off that week?
I am off now until that week of Cabin Con I work, but I am off that Thursday, so I'll be there for the full Cabin Con. I will be working, but I teach only one class face to face. So
what day? What do you mean?
Monday,
during that time.
So, Thursday 9 to 11.
So we could still potentially do it earlier just regular time and have no real issues.
Yeah. I don't think so. So we'll talk about off air, and then we'll talk about it next time on the podcast. Let them know how it's going to roll that week. Okay, man. Well, this is Randy.
And this is Joe.
And remember, you can't be big like us. Them big geeks like us.